Welcome to episode 18 of Take the Trip with Us, where you hear from travel professionals who've experienced destinations firsthand. Listen to their stories and experiences, along with recommendations for your own vacation. I have Seana Beard with me today, and we're going to hear about her recent trip to Beaches Resort in Turks and Caicos. And I'm super excited. I've actually been there a couple times, Shauna, but it's been a long time ago. And I recently actually traveled to St. Lucia, so I wasn't too far away from where you were there in Turks and Caicos. And just, all the preparation for it, everything, like times have changed right now. And so I'm really excited to talk to you today and, hear about your stories and everything. So you went to Turks and Caicos on the island. Tell me about how you got there, because I know there's a lot more to do right now than there was 5 years ago.
Yes. It sounds really daunting. It sounds really daunting. You have to visit all these websites and look at all these rules and procedures and fill out all this stuff, but it's really not. It's not that scary and not that crazy. The first thing we did was visited the Turks and Caicos travel tourism website, and their website is very user friendly. They have some great infographics. They tell you when you need to take your COVID test and when you need to upload your documents. So they really walk you through all of that. We went a couple of days. They suggest 5 days, which now I think that's changed to 3 days. They had suggested 5 days. We actually did 4 because my son was at camp. So we picked him up from camp. We went straight to an urgent care and did our test and got our results. And then within 24 hours, you upload to that website your proof of insurance, your negative COVID test, and then you fill out their questions. And, within a couple hours, you get your approval. Or you get an email that says, oh, we need some more information. And then you just follow that as well.
Okay. And did they tell you a specific test to take? Because I know for St. Lucia, we had to do the PCR test, and it couldn't be a self-administered test. Like, it had to be one that they, did, some, nurse or somebody did. So were they specific in what they asked you to do?
They are very specific. It is a PCR test. And I think they even listed specifically that you needed the molecular PCR.
Wow.
Because I found there was a little confusion when we went to the urgent care and said, oh, we need the PCR test. And the nurse was like, oh, this one, or this one. And I said, hold on. And I pulled the website up right there, and it was very specific. So I just showed her that. She followed those rules, and we were, after about a half an hour, we were good to go.
Awesome. That's very cool. And like getting there, I know you flew from St. Louis. Were you, it's not a direct flight, I'm sure. So was that?
No, so we flew from St. Louis to Miami, and then Miami to Turks and Caicos. And that was a hop, skip, and a jump from Miami. So it was it was maybe an hour and 20-minute flight.
Okay. And you felt comfortable on the plane? Because, I know right now, mask requirement, not mask requirement in some places, it's going back and forth. But I know they say being on a plane with the way the air circulates and everything, that it's even, better or safer than being in a restaurant. So you felt okay on the plane?
So my husband and I are vaccinated, but my son is not, because he's not old enough. So I was a little nervous about that, but I just told him lots of hand sanitizer, keep that mask on. We're not gonna take any chances or play around. So we did. We flew American. We didn't have any problems whatsoever.
Good. That's super. And I know, a lot of people have said they feel very comfortable right now flying and, being in airports and on planes. Yeah, you have to wear a mask on transportation, but, oh well. And I think, it's helping people feel comfortable in that travel. I know you've said in the past you have some challenges yourself. I don't know much about them, but in your own, travels, tell me about some of those challenges and how that changes things for you.
So I am a handicapped individual. It's hard to bring myself to say that sometimes. It's hard to kind of let that guard down. but I have mobility issues, and I also have, through the last 8 years, I have heart issues. So not only do I have mobility issues, but when I am mobile and moving, I have, breathing issues and that kind of thing. So huge airports and, going from one gate to, the other end of the airport to go through security or
Oh, yeah.
customs or anything like that, can be so daunting. But I honestly, I kind of swallow that pride a little bit. I told American Airlines up front that I needed help, that I was handicapped, I would need help to the gates, that I couldn't walk long distances. And they provided that for me. So they provided a wheelchair. And then that allowed, that helper to get us through customs, get us through passport security, get us through all of that, so that we also didn't have to wait in the really long lines. Which obviously not to abuse that, but it was helpful because I also can't just stand on my feet for 45 minutes. So
Sure.
it was very helpful. And I found too that it also just helped us. We don't know how to navigate that airport, and they know their way around. So it was great. It was very beneficial in many ways. And they were so accommodating. There were two other adults. I travel with my husband, my 11-year-old son, and then our friend Bill takes his vacations with us. And they were very accommodating to wait for everybody and make sure we were all together and all of that good stuff.
That's great. Because I know when you're thinking ahead about this and this big trip, it's scary and you're
It's
wondering,
scary. It makes you
yeah,
so nervous, and it creates so much anxiety. And it's undue anxiety. I think if you, the key is to let them know what you need in advance. I let them know when purchasing my tickets. There was a place online to, that you could click if you needed assistance. And
right.
then it even broke it down. What kind of assistance do you need? Um, and they made sure I did just remind them at the gate. And then once I did that, they made sure that there was a wheelchair waiting for me every time I got off the plane. And that was incredibly helpful because, like I said, those walks are daunting.
Sure. And like you said, you kind of don't want to ask for it, but it's swallowing that pride and doing it. And look how comfortable though it made you feel and not
Exactly.
having the worry, because nobody needs that extra worry. I
Right.
mean, gosh, I already worried about getting from point A in the airport to point B. And how was I going to use the restroom and get a drink of water in
Yeah,
between that? And
exactly.
yeah,
Well, and for me, it's like, oh, okay, we have an hour layover. Well, what if customs is too far away? What if I'm coming in at gate A and my new plane leaves at gate H, and okay, maybe I could walk that, but I'm going to have to stop and catch my breath. I'm going to have to, take rest. And then what if I miss it? What if I miss my flight? That's
right.
crazy,
I know. I
and it's
know.
so, and you're right. Who wants to start a vacation that way under all that kind of stress?
Oh,
So I really encourage anybody that has issues just to be very honest and clear about those issues and ask for the help. That is so hard for me to ask for the help when I need it, but you just have to, you got to let it go. Otherwise, you're not starting your trip on the right foot.
that's a really good point. And you want to start that vacation relaxed. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Well, I will say, I think about this, as a travel professional making airline reservations for myself and my family. If I see an hour layover, you got to realize that's when that plane takes off. So,
Right.
they're boarding ahead of that. And if there was like a delay of 20 minutes, even having your airplane pull up to the gate or something and trying to get off and get to the next one, that's really stressful. So good point
Yes.
there of trying to, you're better off to have 3 hours than 1 hour if you have
Right.
that choice.
Very much so. Very
Yeah.
much so.
If
Yes.
if you have the choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Tell me about beaches though. Oh my gosh, beaches as a brand. to be able to go with your family, because obviously it's for families, it's not just for adults only. What about the pools, the beach? What was it like there? Because
Oh
that's a
my
little
gosh.
island.
It is a little island. It was incredible. So this was my son's first trip. I mean, we've taken him to Canada, but this was what he was saying was his first trip out of the United States,
Oh,
first trip to an island, first trip to an all-inclusive. And I almost felt like I was taking him to Disney World that first time, like just watching his face, like how cool is that? They greet you. They greet you as soon as get out of your shuttle or your taxi. They greet you like your family. And everyone is friendly and everyone says hello to you and they welcome you with a beverage and just the most incredible hospitality. And he really he felt like $1 million. And that's just so much fun to watch on his face, and like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, we're staying here. This is the coolest place ever. Um, we were walking the very next day, we were walking past the water park and we were headed somewhere. And I don't even remember what we were headed to do. I think we were headed over to the water sports to check out kayaking and things like that. But we walked past the water park that's there and beaches. And he was like, oh my gosh, he had remembered me telling him about it. He saw it on a video, he saw pictures, but to see it, right there. Oh, mom, wait, do we have some time? Can I just run in here and like go down some slides real quick? Can I play here for just a little bit? Um, and I kind of looked at my husband and I said, you know what, that's fine. Take an hour. You take an hour, play at the swim park, meet us down here. You've got your watch, you've got your phone, meet us and we'll just go from there. Like we loved having just kind of that flexibility of not having anywhere we had to be. So he loved the water park. He loved the French Village pool is just a huge pool and it's quieter. I think that is a quieter family area. So it doesn't have like the bustle that's going on, at the Italian Village pool. And so he really liked hanging out at that one.
And there's how
Um,
many villages again? Sorry, there's
there
the
are four,
Italian.
yes, sorry, there are four villages. There's Key West, the Italian Village, the Caribbean Village, and the French Village.
Okay.
We stayed at Key West. Key West has some of I think the sort of villa accommodations or the accommodations that can kind of fit multiple family members. They can make 3 and 4 bedroom accommodations. So we stayed in a villa and actually our villa was right next to a pool. Key West has 3 small pools as opposed to the larger pool. And so we were right next to one of the smaller pools and he would get up in the morning and first thing just go swimming. So we
Wow.
used the pools and the water park got a lot of
Oh,
our use.
that is so awesome. Now, remind me, he's how old again? He's 11, you said?
He's 11. He's 11.
Okay.
So one of his coolest things was he and my husband wanted to do the scuba diving.
Mm.
And so they wanted to go take the class first thing when we got there and get their certification so that they could do the scuba diving. And while they were there, my son was enjoying it so much and really, I guess, found that he kind of had a knack for it, was learning so much. He decided to get his lifetime PADI certification.
Wow.
So he did the 4-hour course and then opted for the additional 4-hour course. That included him bringing a book home that night and studying. He had to take a written test. He had to take a practical test. He had to do 2 dives. But he loved it so much and was so proud of himself after doing it.
What a
Um,
super memory for him.
it
Like,
was a
that's
great,
just
yeah,
amazing.
it really was
Oh,
great. He came back after that 4 hours after his initial class. He came back. He's like, Mom, I'm going to do the lifetime. I am going to be able to dive for the next 70 years. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I wish you a long and prosperous 70 years. I don't know what to say. Of course, I think it's hilarious because, we live in St. Louis and we're completely landlocked. But he was so excited and
Right.
wanted to do it.
That
So
is great.
I,
Well, and I have to say, I'm excited for him because you are not going to find me under the water
no
anywhere in the
way.
ocean,
Yes, no way.
oxygen attached.
I know. When we got back from our vacation and people said, "Oh my gosh, what did you do? What did you guys do?" And I always say, "Well, Ollie went scuba diving." And then they say, "Well, but what did you do?" And I say, "I perfected my day drinking." That's what I did. I perfected my pool game, so I enjoyed pools and pools with swim up bars and pools next to bars. So that's what I did.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. And you said um, you felt comfortable with him being independent there? Like, so if he
Yes.
went swimming and
Yeah, the best thing about it, you know, he is 11, but I feel the security there at beaches is incredible. You don't get on the resort if you don't have a reservation. They check you at the front entrances, they check you at the beach entrances. There was security all around. And so there were plenty of times when he would say, Mom, I don't really feel like having seafood with you guys for dinner. Can I just go get a pizza and bring it back to the room? Or can I walk over to Bobby D's and get a cheeseburger and bring it back to the room? Um, and I felt completely secure with him doing that. And this is a kid normally that was like, "Oh, ooh, are you sure? Are you sure you don't need to go with me?" So I just had him, he had his phone with him. I said, "Okay, you text me when you get there, you text me when you're heading back." And there were even a few times where he did go out to dinner with us, and we wanted to stay and, maybe have more dessert or have another cocktail, and he was ready to go back to the room. And we would say, "Okay, text us when you get back." So um I really I really felt secure about where we were, and I loved that he had that independence to kind
sure.
of do that on his own. I think he was feeling pretty good about himself to
Oh,
to walk
that's
around a little on his own.
yeah, that is awesome. And when you mentioned, my wheels are turning and you're saying the texting and stuff, because you have free Wi-Fi there at beaches, right? So
Yes,
he could
yeah.
okay.
So we all downloaded, the WhatsApp, and that runs over the Wi-Fi. We all had Wi-Fi, and that's how we communicated with each other. So
Okay.
that was
Gotcha.
great and very easy.
Super. Well, I have to admit, listening to you talk about this, I was thinking a little bit in my head. I mean, I'm listening to you, but I'm also like, golly, when could we get back to beaches? Because my children haven't been there yet. And my husband's we've been to some of the Sandals properties and
Yeah,
stuff together, but I've never taken our younger, older children to
right.
a beaches property. And I know they're ready and I know they want to go. And my thinking about it a lot, listening to what you have to say. So that's awesome. What about one last thing? What about food, the dining? You mentioned a little bit about he wanted to grab a pizza and you guys there's restaurants,
I
there's quick
think
grab.
there is, yeah. One of the things I love, especially about that property in Turks and Caicos, it is, it's a huge property. And I think I think it is their biggest property. So they have so many dining options. I want to say it's 19 or 21 different restaurants.
Wow.
So lots of seafood, lots of beach dining, but they have things for everybody. They had the diner with cheeseburgers and hot dogs. They had a mac and cheese truck. They had ice cream. Um, and the food really is incredible. It is great. Didn't have anything that we didn't like. The friend that travels with us, Bill, he's vegetarian. Lots of options for him. He did not feel limited at all. And one of the things that was great, even we were at Neptune's, and this was the night Ollie he was studying for his scuba diving. And so he
Love
had
it.
said he was just going to go with us to get a cocktail. So he was just going to come to the restaurant and have a Shirley Temple and then go back to the room. And so when the waitress came to get our order, he said, "Oh, nothing for me, thank you." Well, she assumed he didn't want anything because he didn't want Mediterranean style seafood. And he was like, "No, I'm just going to have my drink, but thank you." She came back with a plate covered up to go, a plate of chicken nuggets and French fries for him.
Oh,
We didn't even ask for it. Like I said, it was her assumption that he just didn't find anything he wanted. So she went, that wasn't even something listed on the menu. So she went and got that for him. And he took it back to the room. It was so thoughtful and so considerate. So really, even for your pickiest eaters, there's plenty of food.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. And thinking back, I'm sure talking about it now, all the memories, and it's just so fun to go back through all the pictures and look at
It
everything.
is. It really is. Yeah.
That's
And one more thing, why I mentioned the accessibility in the airport. Beaches also provided incredible accessibility.
oh,
So they have golf carts that'll take you around. Well, like I mentioned, that Turks and Caicos property is a huge property.
mhm.
So if you're ever feeling like you can't walk from one end or the other, or you really want to go try this restaurant, but it's all the way over in the French Village and that is so far away from your room. All you have to do is go to the lobby and ask for a golf cart, and they're happy to take you anywhere you want to go.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And then they have an app too, right? So you can look
they
and see
do.
like
Yeah, they do.
restaurants and
Yes, the app actually was new since my last visit. And so
okay.
that made it very helpful. You could see what was open, right at that time, what menu they had, what they were providing. Some of the restaurants change over. Maybe they offer breakfast, and then in the afternoon, instead of closing, they have like a small, a small like appetizer menu, and then they change over for dinner. So this way, going into that app allowed you to look and see at that particular time you are hungry at 2:30. Here are your options at 2:30 in the afternoon. It was also great to leave messages, to chat with your concierge team, if you were staying at concierge level, and to leave reviews. There's no tipping on the beaches properties, the Sandals properties, but they really love getting reviews and they really love getting feedback. And I really love giving it, especially when we have people that, you know, um, we did stay at concierge level, and one of the concierge really took to my son. And as we were walking to our room, he was like, "Mom, oh my gosh, look, that is a real coconut in a real tree." And she
Oh,
took note of that and brought to our room some coconuts.
oh my
And then
gosh.
later sent someone over to open the coconuts so that my son could drink from a coconut and eat a real coconut.
Oh
So
my.
being able to leave feedback like that, I mean, those are things that I really um those things really make an impression to me, that above and beyond. And I love being able to share gratitude for that. So that is one thing that you can do through that app is leave all of those notes and that
That's
feedback.
that's awesome. And making those connections, I think,
Mhm.
it's that's what makes that vacation so special.
Honestly, exactly. And that's what would keep us going back there.
Yeah.
That's what would make us think, oh, you know what? We want to do something like that again. Well,
So
let's go
when
back
is the
there.
next trip?
Oh, I think it's next year already. We've looked a few times. We've
Oh,
looked a few times already.
that's
Like,
great. Well,
oh, let's
the
just do
way
it again.
yeah, the way things are going, man, I think they're booking out to 2023 and I know
They really,
it's
yeah, I know they are. I know
it's
that's what I
crazy.
told my husband. We have to jump on it and make a reservation soon and secure something.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Shauna. And
Oh, you're
to all our
welcome.
listeners today, too, please tune back in with us. We'll continue to bring you information about destinations that you and your family may want to visit. So take that trip with us. Hear our stories, just like Shauna's, about these destinations that we're exploring and learning tips and tricks that we found useful. Keep dreaming with us about that next destination, the next vacation, or your next adventure. And until next time, keep dreaming. Bye.
Bye.